Hey guys, welcome back. This is going to be episode number 7 to the Ridge build. I appreciate you guys following along. We're going to be covering the progress that has been made over the last few weeks. So here's a short recap and then we'll get started. Alright, we're going to actually get started in the family room. We're going to be going over a few things today. We're going to start with the fireplace. As you can tell behind me, it is not accomplished yet, so we're actually waiting for the back paneling of the fireplace. We ordered a herringbone and they ended up actually delivering stone or brick, so we're actually waiting for them to come out and replace that. We can't actually finish the stonework until we are done with replacing that into the herringbone like we originally ordered. And unfortunately, we've been waiting about 4 weeks for them to come in, or for it to come in. Hopefully it'll be coming this week and then we can finally get this fireplace done. So we're gonna go over the stone. So I just wanna kind of break it down and kind of show you guys on how they install the stone. So what they end up doing first, they cover it in OSB. There's a couple different options depending on outside. They'll put like a felt layer and then they'll put mesh and then they'll cement the mesh and then they'll put their mortar on and then put the stone on. So just for this fireplace, for an example, they do straight OSB install and then they staple a wire mesh onto the OSB and then they fill that OSB with a cement-like mortar, and then from there they lay their stone on there. If you don't put that mesh and stone mixture, cement mixture on the mortar, then your stone won't actually stick to the fireplace, so it'd end up just falling off. The OSB doesn't adhere to the OSB like it does the mortar. So first they OSB, then they'll do the mesh, staple the mesh on, then they'll skim coat it with their mortar, and then they'll lay their stone. And after they're done laying their stone, they'll come in. You can't tell, but these actually don't have grout joints in them yet. But these ones up here actually do. So, and then once the stone's on, they'll let that cure. Once it's stuck, then they'll actually go back and they'll fill a bag with mortar or grout, whatever you would like to call it. And then they actually squeeze the grout in each joint and then they let it cure for a little bit longer. And then they actually go back and scrape it with a couple different tools, and they also take a brush to it. That way you don't have any excess grout covering on the stones. So that's how they do the stone. So we're just gonna kind of go around. As you can tell, the whole house has been painted. We ended up actually going with a color called Snowbound. It's basically a white. We wanted to keep it pretty light in here. The whole entire house we ended up actually doing Snowbound. There's a couple feature walls that we ended up deciding to go with that aren't white. As you can tell, this is actually gonna be black. We are going to be putting decorative wood on there. This is only one base coat of black, so we're going to put decorative wood on the back, and then we're going to come back and do a second coat. Our finisher is actually going to be starting Monday, which is pretty awesome. I can't wait for that to actually start. So let's go into the other feature wall that we ended up putting in. This is actually going to be in one of our kids' rooms, and that is going to be a pink wall. We're also going to end up doing decorative woodwork back here, and then putting a second coat of that pink. And let's see, I'm not sure exactly what the color is. This is a wife pick. It is actually going to be Sherwin-Williams. The color is actually called a Romance. It's hard to tell and hard to pick up the color, but once you put it against the white, you can tell it's like a very light pink. So let's kind of go over to the upstairs area, and we're gonna kind of give you an update on the bonus room section upstairs. So I'll meet you guys upstairs. All right guys, I'm actually heading upstairs and I noticed something I wanted to point out. So if you could tell behind me, this is going up the stairs. So we were actually gonna put a chandelier, it's hard to tell because it's white, on the ceiling, but we ended up actually putting in these lights right here above the door, and then also on this wall right here. The main reason we ended up actually doing that is so, let's just say we put a chandelier there, which is what we originally wanted. In case a light bulb goes out, we don't have to somehow figure out how to change a light bulb in the middle of a stair set, because these are probably almost 20-foot ceilings on where that actually chandelier would go. So it'd just be a pain to change, so we actually had the suggestion from the electrician to put in these wall lights, just for the ease of changing in case a bulb were to go out. So just kind of think of that and just trying to think of things that will be helpful in the future, not so much what looks, well, looks are important too, but not so much what is happening at that moment. Just kind of want to look into the future in case something were to happen with a light bulb or something else. It'd just be a pain to change it. So upstairs, everything's snowbound, which is white, and then obviously our ceilings are white. One thing we ended up doing with this house is flat ceilings. So they actually did a level 5 finish on the ceilings, which is basically a very light skim coat of mud along the whole ceilings, and they come back, sand it smooth, and then obviously you prime it and paint it, and then you get a very smooth, nice, zero texture finish on the whole ceiling. We did that throughout the whole house. It was a little pricier, but I think it was well worth it. It's doesn't have any popcorn ceilings or any type of texture, which we're not a big fan of. So as you can tell, the openings are still open in this bonus room. Our finisher is actually going to be the one building the cabinets around it, or doors I should say, insulated doors. And this will all actually be covered in knotty alder trim, and the doors will also probably be stained knotty alder. So let's jump downstairs and we're gonna kind of go over a few other things, and I'll meet you guys down there. All right guys, we did get some of our tile in. I just want to kind of show you guys and go over what we're gonna be putting in. So in the laundry room, we're actually gonna do tile. Powder room, we're gonna do tile. And then the kids' bathroom are also gonna be tiled. The rest of the house is actually gonna be vinyl, plank flooring. A few reasons we ended up doing this was for the durability of it and the cleaning, the ease of cleaning it, because that is actually currently what we have in our house now that I put in for one of my flips. So we ended up really liking that flooring, so we ended up deciding to go with that in this new house, just because we do have a dog, we do have 3 children, and it's just durable and it holds up. But I'm gonna kind of show you guys the tile that we ended up picking out for our laundry room. Currently, we're gonna end up doing 2x10 tiles. I'll be doing the tile work in this room, the powder room, and all the kids' bathrooms as well. And then obviously in our master, we're gonna probably hire that out just because I don't have that much time to do everything. So we ended up actually going with 2x10 tile. This is gonna kind of show you, we're gonna end up doing a herringbone pattern. That's gonna be the color of the floor. Obviously that's just a demonstration. That's gonna have grout joints, and it'll be a little cleaner looking obviously once it's on the floor. But so what we're gonna end up doing is going into detail once we get to that point, and I'm gonna kind of break it down on how to tile the floor and the process of doing that. Whether when it comes to laying down your cement board, because you can't lay it on OSB obviously, putting down your cement board, putting down your mortar mix, putting down your tile. I'll go over the whole process once I get to that point. So that's gonna be more of like a how-to video. And then obviously I'll also give you updates on the house, because there's gonna be finishers. Our finishing crew, I believe, is a crew of 3 or 4 guys. They are Amish, and they are going to be basically coming in, and they'll be here for about 2 months. That's our goal, to get everything accomplished and done, and hopefully we'll be in by then. So let's get to the outside. I do want to show you what I ended up doing. This is kind of like a last minute thing, but I'm really looking forward to it. Our back patio is around 600 square feet, if I remember correctly, and that's going to be like our entertainment area, which I really wanted to kind of go above and beyond with. So let's go outside, and then I'll kind of give you a breakdown of what we got going on. All right, guys, we're actually on the back patio now. I'm going to give you guys a breakdown of what we got going on. So we're going to have a beverage cooler here. It's a 140 can beverage cooler, and then next to that we have a Napoleon grill, which I'm really looking forward to hanging out here and just being able to cook and entertain guests that are going to be coming over. So below that, I still have to do a cutout of for the doors, and then next to that we have a trash insert. On top of it, we're going to actually be doing granite on the top of the counters, and then it's going to go all the way, wrap all the way around, and this is actually going to be like kind of like a bar area, so we can look out into the yard and watch the kids or cook and eat here, and that way we have a view and kind of just hang out back here. We're going to go over to the fireplace area. So the outdoor fireplace has been installed, which is also pretty exciting. We ended up doing herringbone in there as well. That one actually came correctly like the interior one should have, but we're actually going to be putting a TV up there. So just for entertaining purposes, we'll end up putting a bench or something out here to hang out and just relax outside when it's not 10 degrees out. So this is going to be the entertainment area. Our ceiling's still in the process of being stained by yours truly. It's taking a lot longer than anticipated. We're actually done staining. All we have to do is seal it. So let's do a walk around of the house, and you guys will kind of see the progress on the siding, and we'll go over a few things on the siding that I feel as though are important to kind of do beforehand instead of trying to do it after you already install the siding. So let's go to the front. We'll start there and we'll work our way back, and I'll see you guys in the front. We're outside in the front. It is a little chilly out due to our great Ohio weather, but as you can tell behind me, all our gables are done on both sides of or both fronts of the house. We ended up actually going with shake. I'll get a close-up on some drone footage and kind of input it here so you guys can get a closer look. So that is shake up there, and then board and batten. We ended up doing vinyl board and batten around the whole front of the house. We ended up doing white, as you could tell. That's just something that the wife wanted, and then we ended up actually going with black fascia and also black soffits. So I'll meet you guys in the back of the house to kind of give you guys a better look of the siding, and we'll kind of go over what we chose. So I'll catch you guys in the back. I was actually walking to the back of the house, and there's one thing I wanted to point out. Obviously you guys can tell that the back of the house, this is actually back of the garage, is not done 100% yet. So one thing I wanted to point out is it's not required per code to actually use it, but I highly suggest you guys use a moisture barrier underneath your siding. It allows it to breathe. It also helps prevent water from getting into your OSB, swelling, and also kind of breaking it down. You don't have to, but I would suggest it. Anyone that is in the building trade, not saying I'm a pro or anything, but that is kind of something that you guys really do want to look out for and make sure you guys do have. And also make sure your guys' windows, I'll try zooming in. I don't know if you can really tell, but there is flashing around the window. That is very important also, because any water that comes down and hits the window, it'll repel it. That way it's not going into the window gap and then rotting your wood that your window is sitting in. So I just wanted to point that out because that is a very important step. I might as well just keep you guys on while I walk back. As you can tell, we have snow, and all our stone on the bottom of the house is actually accomplished, which is something that is pretty nice because they beat the weather to getting that accomplished. So this is the vinyl siding we ended up going with. I don't know if you can really tell. It's actually 8-inch groove deep, or 8-inch wide siding. There's two different options with this brand specifically, 6-inch or 8-inch. So we ended up going with the wider. And then on the back of the patio, this is the entertainment area. We ended up actually going with shake up there as well. And then I don't know if you could tell, but I'll zoom in. But there is actually a part of it that he did not finish. So I'm actually going to have a 15,000 lumen spotlight that I'm putting up there. That's the fireplace. Obviously that's going to get stoned, but it's actually too cold for them to do any type of stonework here in good old Ohio, because you need water for your mortar mixture, and obviously if you lay it and there's water in it and it freezes, it doesn't set, and then it all just causes issues from there. So behind me there's a pile of dirt. You can't really tell that it is covered in snow, but I'll meet you guys over there and we'll kind of go over what's been done on the side of the house. It's actually hard to tell just due to the snow that we've had over the last few days, or week I should say, but our septic system is actually installed as well. So what we ended up putting in was a spray irrigation system. So we got a couple tanks over here. You can't really tell because of the snow, but it goes all the way back into the woods, and there's 2 spray heads that actually release the water every, it's on a timer, so every, I want to say it's like 4 in the morning, it'll automatically spray out in those woods, so we don't have any type of sewage water, even though it is clean water, sprayed into our yard. It's in the woods, we don't have to worry about it. If there is any type of smell, because sometimes you do have people complain about like a egg smell kind of from that system. So it'll be in the woods, it's approximately 250 foot into the woods, so we don't have to worry about it. As you can tell behind me, I ended up having them install this last minute. This is like a side shed. I just wanted somewhere I could put my shovels and basically any type of gardening equipment. I ended up having them cover the gas meter as well. Per code, I am within limits. It just needs to be clear 3 feet from the meter on each side in all directions, and then the gas company needs to have access to that meter. So if that's something that you think you would be interested in doing, I would highly suggest it if you do have kids. That way they don't mess with it and there's no issues. Also, we did finish stoning the walkout basement area. Obviously that's the basement, you walk up and then that goes into the backyard. So let's keep walking around the house. We ended up doing the same board and batten siding around the whole house. This is going to be stone. It hasn't been done yet, obviously, due to weather, like I just said. And then right here, we actually did have the well installed already, which is nice. We're having the plumbers come out this week, and we will have everything finally hooked up completely. What they end up doing to dig the well is they bring a truck out. They got carbide bits that basically drill. Our well, I believe, is 110 feet. If I remember correctly, they hit water at 60. They went another 40, and then they put their pump, I want to say at like 90. So I would give you guys a better breakdown of how exactly the well gets drilled, but to be 100% honest, I'm not super knowledgeable on that process. That's why you hire professionals that know what they're doing, and they've done it for a long time, and it had good reviews. So I do know they drill down, they hit water, obviously, and you put a pump in, and then it goes into your basement, then it goes through a softener system, and then obviously it gets dispersed throughout the house. So another thing too is we ended up actually getting the electrical panel installed, and we actually finally have our power connected to the house, which is a big step because we've been on back. We've basically been fighting that for a while, as you could tell. It's not very common to have a 400 amp parallel panel in a residential property, so we had issues finding parts for that. I appreciate you guys following along. If there's any questions you guys have during this whole build process or anything that has been accomplished since I started this channel, I really do want you guys to reach out, ask your questions below, put them in the comments, give me some feedback and what I can do to improve these videos. So I do appreciate you guys, and I will catch you guys on episode 8, and hopefully the house will look totally different compared to what it does now inside. One last thing that I did want to go over, I know I mentioned I was going to go over stuff you want to get accomplished before you do the siding. It's hard to tell, but on every corner of the house I actually have wires running through it, and they're going to have boxes. And those are going to be cameras throughout the whole house. So basically our whole house will be covered in security cameras. That way, if anything were to happen, we have that security and knowing who's coming in and out of our house, and also who's going to be coming near the house. So that's just more of a security protection thing. Make sure you run your wires prior. Even if you don't use them right away, at least you have them installed and they're there, because if you go to try to do it later, it's a lot harder, it's a lot more expensive to actually run all your security wires later. So that's one last tip, and I'll catch you guys next episode.